everyone. So in this lesson, we are going to learn in details about 10 things, 10 tips I will be sharing with you about what you do not have to do in your IELTS letter, right? I will also be sharing with you what you can do in your main letter, right? So tip number 1, never begin a letter with dearest Peter, my dear friend, dear colleague, dear boss, dear principal or something similar. In fact, dearest, don't use this word. My dear, not required. Friend, no, name the friend. Dear colleague, name the colleague. Dear boss, dear principal, boss, no, don't do that. Don't name the designation of that person that you or say something that you call that person often. Please don't do that, right? That's because, see, in different languages it is all right, but it is not all right in English. English is a bit different. So in this case, in a formal letter, you would be beginning with Dear Mr. Chandler, Dear Mrs. Chandler, Dear Miss Chandler, yes, the friends Chandler, or in unusual situations where we do not know who we are writing to. For example, you're writing to a telecom department, right? And in the telecom department, you're writing a letter telling them that they have charged excessively from you. So in that case, you don't know the person you're writing to. Since you do not know the person you're writing to, in that case, you can write dear sir or madam. That's it, nothing else, right? In a personal letter, you will be beginning with dear plus the first name of your friend. That's it. You will be writing there is dear Manish, dear Peter, dear Sam, dear Joseph, dear Rachel. These are the words that you will be using. These are the names that you will be using in a personal letter. Nothing else. इसके अलावा कुछ नहीं करना. Now, tip number 2. Never end your letter with your friend, your brother Ross, your angry passenger Miss Green, your devoted student Manish, or your devoted student Katrina, a student since 2014. No, you do not have to use this salutation when you're writing a personal letter, right? A formal letter would finish with a call to action. Simply, call to action, that means the ending salutation I'm talking about. I look forward to plus verb ing formation. And then you will leave a line and write kind regards. Then you will leave a line and write your first name plus your last name. For example, I look forward to receiving your check for this amount before the end of the week. Kind regards, Manish Pandey. Do you see K capital, R capital? Then there is a comma, Manish Pandey. There is no comma or full stop. Remember that. Next, you can use yours sincerely or yours faithfully if you wish as an alternative to kind regards. That's acceptable, not a challenge, right? A personal letter should finish with a friendly comment and all the best plus your first name. There can be a lot of other salutations in an informal letter. Just take an example here. Drop me a line in the week if you have time. This is a personal call to action. Drop me a line in the week if you have time. Then you write all the best, comma, Manish. There is no comma, no full stop. Remember that, right? Alternatives for all the best in personal letters can be best wishes, then you leave a line, all the best, Manish. Take care, leave a line, all the best, Manish. See you soon, leave a line, all the best, Manish. Thinking of you, all the best, leave a line, all the best, Manish. Keep in touch, again leave a line, right, all the best, Manish. That's the way you end an informal letter. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Tip number 3. Avoid padding. Now, this is something which you would have heard for the very first time. This means that you never include too many complicated details or list of facts about a situation. Examiners will see that you're writing irrelevant details because of which your numbers will go down. So, for example, to complain about noise from outside your residence, if you are complaining about noise from outside your residence, the writer can include details about there are motorbikes at night which create a lot of noise. So that's acceptable, right? That's because it's simple, it's realistic. Yes, sometimes outside the residence there are a lot of motorbikes coming in, going out, because of which there's a lot of noise. Something relevant. But if the writer starts talking about the make, the design of the bike, in that case, it doesn't help. IELTS examiner will see that you are just writing something irrelevant. Say, for example, You're writing the motorbikes are large Honda machines with 1100cc engines and 75 centimeter wheels. Then the examiner would consider this to be padding. When I say padding, that means writing extra information, irrelevant information not suited for the task, right? So padding means adding unnecessary details to make it longer without creating content, genuine content, or using language effectively. So you will not be doing padding, that means writing irrelevant information. I think for this we require professional guidance. Tip number 4. The tip number 4 for you would be never use personal phrases in a formal letter and never use formal phrases in an informal or a personal letter. Remember that. That's why vice versa. For example, drop me a line. Now this is an informal phrase. Drop me a line. It can only be used in a personal letter to a friend, to a relative, but it cannot be used if you're wanting for if you're asking for information in a formal context, right? Other phrases that you can use for personal letters. Why don't we meet up? That's an informal phrase. You can use it in an informal letter. If I were you, when you're giving some advice to some friend of yours, so you're writing, if I were you, I'd go and make more friends. So that's something that can be given as an advice, right? Do you remember when we were young and we used to go shopping? So that's something that you're sharing with your friend. Here's an idea. So these are all informal phrases that I'm sharing. The thing the problem is that I'm not able to complete my assignments on time. So you're writing an informal sentence. The thing is that, the problem is that. And when you're writing informally, you're saying, I'm really sorry that you felt bad. You don't do that in a formal letter. Remember that. Looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday. In informal letter, formal letter. When I say formal letter, you do I look forward to. In informal letter, you say looking forward to. There's a difference. Yes. So you'll be doing this way. And phrases that you can use in formal letters are I'm writing regarding the recent bill that I have received from your organization. So that's I'm writing regarding. You're writing as you will appreciate. This is something which concerns us all. So as you will appreciate. Now, and this is then you're giving your reason what you're appreciating about or whatever you've written about. May I suggest that you develop another gymnasium close to the boys' hostel. Say for your example, you're writing to your university head. So you're using these phrases, formal phrases. I therefore request that you bring in a lot of differences. I therefore request that you help us with this situation. I therefore request that you would look into the matter. I look forward to receiving your prompt reply. Now this is again, all these phrases are formal in nature to be used in a formal letter. The phrases, you have to differentiate between what is formal sounding and what is informal sounding, and your tone will match up like that, right? Tip number 5, never use contractions in a formal letter. Yes, contractions like can't, won't, right, wouldn't. These are to be used in personal letter or informal letter. Remember that full form of can't is cannot. It's not can, not, it's cannot, right? So it's one word. Second, remember that in modern English, shall is only used for informal or personal suggestions. That's it. Shall we go to the market? Question mark. That's it. But not for the future tense. That means if you're writing to someone and you're saying that, I shall take the exam in June. No, you will be writing, I will take the exam in June. That's modern English. That's what you will be using right now in your main letter writing. The negative shan't or shall not is almost never used in modern English today, and there is no reason to write there I shan't see you, I shall not see you, right? I won't see you, I will not see you. That's it. Don't use the shall formation right now. Okay. Tip number 6, never use idioms, cliches, proverbs or slang or text abbreviation in any type of letter. Never use idioms, cliches, proverbs, slang or text abbreviation, any type of letter, neither in formal nor in informal, nor in semi-formal also. So let's know about idioms. So your English teacher would have taught you some idioms like it was raining cats and dogs, it is as cool as a cucumber. These idiomatic expressions, they are not to be used in any of it. In reality, most English speaking people do not, almost never use these phrases today. These were used by, these are being used by people who are more than 50 plus in British lands and in say American lands, I don't know. But you will not be using these idiomatic phrases in any of your letters. If there is someone teaching you, tell him or her idioms not to be used in writing. Right? So don't use idioms, because IELTS examiner will think that you are using a memorized phrase, which is a part of padding, because of which your numbers will go down, right? Okay, continuing ahead. No usage of idioms. You will also not be using slangs. For example, the words which are too informal or confusing, they are not accepted by the IELTS examiner. So examples are, my friend is a nerd, my friend is a geek, my friend is a creep, the party was cool, the party was wicked, the party was sick. All these words are too millennial sounding. They are not to be used in IELTS writing. Don't risk losing your numbers by using these words, either in writing or in speaking, I would say. Yeah, so don't have to do that. Text abbreviations is another pointer that you should avoid. You will not be using letters like LOL, ROFL, CU, right? These words don't have any meaning and they are not accepted by IELTS examiners. Keep this in your mind. Yeah? Okay, going ahead. Tip number 7. Never write less than 150 words or write more than 250 words in a letter writing task. In the exam, you should count the words after each paragraph to make sure you are on track to reach between 200 to 220 words. That's it. Don't cross 220 words, I'm telling you. You don't have time, neither do you have that amount of bandwidth in your brain that you're trying to write something very beautiful or 9-bandish in a 220 word essay, 250 word essay. You won't be doing a letter, you won't be doing that. You should check the time on the clock when you do this too, and be clear how much time you have left. 180 words to 220 words maximum. 180 is ideal. Do that. That's enough. 200 words max. Don't cross 200. I would suggest that also. Yeah. You must finish task 1 in 20 minutes or task 2 will be almost impossible to finish. Remember that. Tip number 8. Never include your opinions or ideas about topics or trends in society in a general training task 1 letter. For example, in a task that has asked you to complain about a phone bill, you should not include your thoughts on why large companies give poor customer service or the social trend towards using mobile phones in a certain way and so on. There will be 3 bullet points asked. You will either be a complaining, a suggesting, a request, an apology. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Don't give any personalized philosophical thought process that you have around a particular topic. You will lose marks in task response. So these are to be done in essay writing, for which we will be asking you different questions or different set of essays. You'll practice that and use your philosophical nature there. Also, tip number 9, never go into the IELTS exam writing test unless you are sure that your handwriting is very clear to read in English. These days, we have computer-based testing options. Use that as a fair advantage if you have a terrible handwriting. This means that you have to change some of your handwriting for the test. If you are able to develop a flair for better handwriting, it's good. If you're not, you will lose your numbers. Examiners will take your number down. Many strong candidates lose marks because the examiner finds it difficult to read their writing. Unfortunately, the examiners won't spend a lot of time trying to read the words that are unclear, because of which you will lose more numbers. So avoid doing that. Yeah. Tip number 10. Remember, never spend more than 20 minutes on task 1. Remember, at the end of each paragraph, you should count the words you've written and check the time that's remaining. Keep to the time, practice so very well that when you're taking the final exam, you're able to do that, and your letter should allow few minutes inside. You should allow yourself few minutes inside 20 minutes to check your letter. That's because if you do not come back to your letter, check for grammar, vocabulary errors that you would have created, there will be a tendency that you go down in your pants, right? So I hope these tips would make sense to you, and if at all you're committing any of the errors which I have shared above, don't do that. Remember, yeah. All right. Thank you so much